now that we have this stacked bar chart, I want to experiment with some other visual forms. So I'll fork this and I'll start editing and I'll say something like, so, what I want to do is make it so that on the y-axis, it uses religion. And what this should do is set up a grid of country by religion. And then how we visually encode each point is sort of up for grabs. But no, I don't think my instructions were clear enough. So I clicked undo. So let me say, let's set it up so that on the x-axis, it remains as country. And on the y-axis, it changes to be religion, where the size of the circles in each grid intersection represents the population using a D3 square root scale starting at 0, so that the area of the circles corresponds to the values. That's more like what it should be. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, this is great. So this is actually another visual encoding for this. This is cool. It's like a scatter plot where X and Y are not just quantitative, but actually are both categorical. And you see now color is redundantly encoding religion. And I don't think it adds value, so let me just remove that. Make all the circles black. Get rid of color because it doesn't add any value. Now this is pretty crisp. So now, when we have this sort of data, the ordering is really super important. So what got me thinking in this direction is this idea of reorder.js. But before I get into that, let me just call this something like CV categorical scatterplot. So now we have this categorical scatterplot. I want to do some work around the ordering of these. And eventually, I think this would allow us to pull in the full data set of all countries and all religions. Right now, it's just the most populous countries. But the idea is that instead of just sorting these by whatever order it is in the data, I think that's how it's sorted now in X and Y, we would want to do some kind of intelligent ordering a la Jacques Bertin. Okay, so I remember one year I was at a data visualization conference and I saw this paper presented about reorder.js from Jean-Daniel Fekete. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, but he does amazing data visualization work, and there were some research papers based on this. The idea is that it takes the matrix reordering algorithms from Jacques Bertin, Semiology of Graphics. Amazing, seminal book on data visualization. One of my favorite books. It's so cool to just flip through this and see the different diagrams. He was way ahead of his time. Originally from 1967, this book is sort of lays the foundation of theory for data visualization. And he was really into this concept of the reorderable matrix, where on X and Y, it's both categorical. So within that, there's sorting. You could sort it any way you please. And you could take into account the information encoded in the intersections of those as well. So that's what reorder.js does. So what I want to do is try to get reorder.js to actually work in some of these modern D3 and React examples. So the question is, how is this distributed? Will it work at all? I just saw my name in that. It's funny. I did touch this library some time ago for adapting it to modern JavaScript modules. So let's see. I don't remember what I did exactly, but I want to see, is this published on a CDN like JS deliver. See, in our code, this is how we are pulling in the dependencies of React and D3. So the question is there a URL like this? If you add a slash, it goes to the index page. Is there a URL like this that I could get for reorder.js? And to figure that out, we go to the package.json, check out the name, reorder.js. That's what it would be on NPM. So that's where you put it here, the URL. And sure enough, there it is. With a dist directory. Fantastic. There's a .esm.js. Wow. Okay, it imports from another thing called science. What the heck? So we would need to pull in this as well, I think. Unless there's a fully contained version. So here's the common JS, which requires that other dependency. And then reorder.min.js. So this might actually be the thing we want. I'm not sure. Because see, it does set the global reorder. So because it sets this browser global, I assume it contains the dependencies. So I would prefer to try getting it to work this way, as opposed to also trying to pull in this other dependency. So let's see if we can get this to work. We are trying to load in a new dependency. Please see if you can add this as a dependency and console log the exported value. And I believe it exposes a browser global called reorder. This is the URL. And then I'll actually paste that there. And let's see if this works. So it pulled it in as a regular script. Let's see if the console log came out. I don't see it. It created another module. But I think maybe tree shaking happened because it imported something that wasn't used. So let's see. In our app, let's use it. Console.log reorder. And oh my gosh, we got it. We got it. Amazing. So, I mean, in an ideal world, we would have it as an import map here. But because it's working now, this might be a can of worms. I'm just thrilled to unlock it. So, in my mind, every time you can load something in VizHub, it's a huge unlock because it unlocks a world of downstream possibilities. So let's try to use it here to reorder this matrix. So how do we do that? Well, luckily there is a pretty decent, well, I was going to say decent README, but there's not. There's no code examples at all. Want to learn more? See the wiki. Okay. API reference. Okay, this is something. Well, let's somehow get this to the LLM. It doesn't have enough detail to use it directly. It's all these different wiki pages. The links are broken. Yeah, there's like no detail at all. But you know what? How big is this? Ah, examples. Here we go. Examples. One example is worth a million lines of documentation. Okay, so now the task is to figure out which example maps onto what we need to do. So how do I look at these examples? Did they have like a demo site to run the examples? npm run dev. Okay, fine. I'll clone this. Okay, git clone. There we go. cd reorder npm install. npm run dev. Demo. Look at this. Okay, I'm going to open them all and look at them. So here we have like a checkerboard, random PP. Look at that. Oh, ooh, what? Okay, okay. This is giving a flavor of the kind of thing that this library does. So this is randomly. This is the initial order, like from the data or alphabetical, which is usually meaningless, but can be useful if you want to be able to index on a certain thing, like a dictionary. But visually speaking, if you do something like optimal leaf order permute, wow, that's cool. That's what we need. Okay, Les Mis. Look at this. A larger data set. Order by frequency. Look at this. This is gorgeous. I love this sort of thing. By cluster. See? Clustering. These are the social cliques in Les Mis. And then there's different distance metrics. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't have any effect, I guess. Then there's leaf order. I don't know why you would want that, but... Okay, so now the distance metrics do matter. Euclidean distance versus... Whoa, whoa, look at that. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I mean, that looks good. So yeah, once we get it working, another job of ours will be to pick which one of these we want to use. Or we could just have a drop down like this. Well, actually, this looks like the demo to use. I don't even need to really look at the others, but just a quick tour. What have we got? Oh, wow. It looks like the same thing on different data. This is their actual authorship network. Whoa. Cool. Parallel coordinates version. And then, oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so let's use this example to try to unlock our demo. So let's take a look in the examples. Miserables. And then there's the data, and I love this. It's just one big index.html. So here's what we can do. Just copy it. All of it. This is our docs. This is our documentation. And then we go into the edit with AI over here. And we say something like, please adapt our example to use the reordering algorithms set up in the following reference example. And also, please add a drop-down menu where we can select the algorithm, just like in the following reference example. And then I put colon, and then I'll do the triple backticks, and then paste all that code, and hit send. And hope for the best. Okay, that failed for some reason. I'm going to click try harder. And now it's working on Claude Sonnet. Which takes a little longer, but it's worth the wait if it can unlock this. See, there's different scales of edits. There's like change the color, which a weak LLM could do, but then there's like implement this heady algorithm where you need the more advanced LLMs. Well, that also failed. So I'm going to click try harder yet again. And this time, it's using Gemini 3 Pro with thinking. So now it's using reasoning tokens, and this is the apparently most advanced coding model out there as of today. And I'm so thrilled to get Gemini working here in VizHub. Maybe this will work. Let's see. And I love how you can read its thinking, like refining the implementation. It's got a totally different vibe than the Claude models. My current strategy revolves around efficiently constructing the matrix. I'm focusing on... I mean, that's so cool. My current thinking pivots towards crafting compute orders to manage the heavy lifting. And it is a very heady task, what I'm asking it to do, because it's taking our setup from before and trying to integrate it with this demo from like 5 years ago that uses a totally different input data structure for the data representation. So it's trying to map our data representation onto that other one. And so it has to figure out, how is our data even a matrix? Right? I mean, I guess you can consider it a weighted thing where the size of the circle corresponds to the weight of the connection between the two nodes, like Hindu and India, for example. So I'm asking this LLM to essentially assume that by connection between nodes, I mean there is a non-zero value, and look at that. Boom! It worked! Man! This is so intense. Oh, with transitions to boot. Wow. This is next level. This is truly next level. So that's amazing. That's so amazing. All right, that's it. Let's publish it. I'm going to call this CV unlocking reorder.js. Make it public. Set the custom URL. And as of last week, I just want to fill up that little white space. So let me say, add less margin on the top. And now it goes back to Claude Haiku for the simple edits. So it actually looks better. Let me take a quick look through the code. app.jsx, compute orders. This is heady. They had to pull this out of the demo. Whoa. This maps the data structures. Oh, incredible. Create scales. Pretty straightforward from before. The data. I will go spelunking for the full data set of all countries of this, because that would be so cool to see here. Index.html, we're using import maps for everything except reorder, just because it's kind of an older library. That would be another cool thing to unlock. Index.js, load reorder. Okay, we don't really need that console.log anymore, so we can just return like that. And then in the README, oh, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. So let's fill that up. Let me grab this copy from the reorder.js and say something like, please build out the README to describe what is going on here and explain that it is an adaptation of an older library to modern frameworks using React and D3. Then I'll paste that reorder.js. Send. Let's see what it does. And there's our README. Let's take a look through it. Religious demographics visualization. An interactive bubble chart. Love that. Showing religious population distribution across countries built with React D3 and Reorder. Yeah, fairly well written. Nice. And I love the multiple ordering idea because I feel like depending on the data set, different orderings would work better. And just flipping through it, let me just take a actually look at the data. So it's religion by country, and it's initialized to be ordered by name, which is meaningless. Probably we should change the default. But if we order by frequency, what do we see? I mean, China kind of stands out as a cluster of unaffiliated Buddhist and folk religions. Those are the biggest in China. And then Hindu is by far the biggest in India. And then United States. See, I feel like United States and Brazil could cluster. So we're not really getting the clustering. Like I kind of want to see the Christian dominant places cluster together. So it makes sense though, we're ordering by frequency. But what about leaf order? Whoa, this is more like it. This is more like it. Yeah, the patterns. I mean, this is teasing out the... Oh, you know what I want to do is brushing on this. Muslim majority nations are clustering together now. See that? Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, Iran, and Turkey. And then the Christian dominant ones are also clustering together. So here it's what? Nigeria, Ethiopia, Germany, DR Congo, Philippines, Russia, Mexico, Brazil, United States. And then China and India are just on a whole other playing field. Like India is Muslim and Hindu, both. And less emphasis on Christian and other religions. And Buddhist. That was surprising because Buddhism originates from India. Surprising how it's so small. But where are there a lot of Buddhists? I mean, it just pops right out because it's China, a lot in China, Thailand, Japan, Vietnam, and the United States. Surprising to see how small the dot is for United States Buddhist, actually, because there's quite a lot. And another thing to add would be tooltips. I want to know what that number is. If I hover, I should see the number. But anyway, I'm so pleased that we were able to unlock this awesome data visualization library, reorder.js. And I hope this leads to a lot of awesome visualizations of this network data or data sets in general. It could be not even network data to begin with, but if it's any CSV, like any tabular data with two attributes that are categorical, you can apply this technique and reframe that as a matrix, you know, a graph data structure, and use these reordering algorithms on it to tease out patterns and clusters. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you can fork and modify this yourself in VizHub to suit your needs. Thanks for watching. Take care.